Hey everyone, welcome back. So I wanted to talk about what happens after you get into grad school. You are a graduate student, now what? So this video is going to be more geared towards the speech language pathology graduate students and kind of what it means to be an SLP grad student now that you've gotten in and everything is settled. So I just thought I would share a little bit of my experience so far.
Caught in an action, I can't rewind. And in my head, I'm screaming, but out of my mind, I'm still too young to feel this way.
So if you are new here, my name is Emilyy Elizabeth and I am studying to be a speech language pathologist. I am currently in my second year of a 2-year grad program, so I'm almost there. I am graduating in a few months, which is very exciting, but I've gone through enough of it now to kind of lay out and explain what it means and what I've done so far during my time as a grad student. I'll leave the links down below in my other grad student videos on how I get in and tips and tricks on interviews, things like that, but this is more now that you've gotten in. So the two main components of grad school that are going to be your entire life are classes and clinic. The classes portion, let's start with that. Every program is going to be a little bit different in terms of what they require, but all of them are going to be the same in terms of what ASHA requires. So if you're not familiar with ASHA, get familiar with it, because it is going to be guiding your life as a grad student in speech language pathology. They are the ones who make all of the rules and regulations on what it means for you to be able to get certified and even after. So all of the programs have to follow their guidelines and what they've ruled you need to know to be able to go out into the world. These classes are going to be more in-depth versions of what you had taken in undergrad. So all of those anatomy and physiology classes are going to come back, and you'll definitely need to know them not only for the classes but when you're working with the clients. All of that anatomy is really important when you're working especially with swallowing clients or voice clients or figuring out where some breakdowns are happening. So it's definitely very important to remember, but mostly all of those are going to come together in grad school, and all of your professors are expecting you to know all of that information coming in. Especially if you did not go to undergrad for communication sciences and disorders and speech therapy, that's okay, but I would definitely make sure you're familiar with a lot of the terminology, and obviously you took those prerequisite courses to get into grad school, but just making sure that you know and are familiar with a lot of the content, because they are going to jump right to it and expect you to know it. Grad school is a lot of taking what you've learned now and applying it to case studies and applying it to clients. So they'll give you kind of a synopsis and a description of a client, and depending on what class you are focused on, it'll obviously be geared toward that topic. So whether it be swallowing, whether it be motor speech disorders, whether it be language, and again also it could be pediatric, adult, or geriatric clients. So really taking what you know and then applying it to those clients and diagnosing them and coming up with intervention plans and what you're going to be doing. Because that's what they're trying to prepare us for. They want you to be able to have a client walk in, you be able to know what evaluations to give them and what intervention plans you're going to make based off the evaluation results. So getting into all of that is super exciting, because in undergrad they don't really talk about the assessment parts because they're not allowed to, because ASHA only allows graduate students to work with that. So really diving into the assessment portion and giving assessments is a main step also in grad school. So here is the breakdown of what I have and will be taking so far in my program. So it's 2 years with the summer in between, so 5 semesters. This is what my layout and curriculum entails, and it's pretty similar across other grad programs with a few exceptions here and there. We have different electives obviously, which you can choose. So I think we're going to take the counseling course later on in the spring, this coming up semester, because that is definitely a huge component of speech pathology, which not a lot of people know of, because it doesn't seem like it. Most people are like, oh, you teach people your R's and all of that fun stuff that people assume we do. But we know that it is much more than that, and there will be times where you have to console a parent or explain things, and especially if this is their first child with speech and language delays or things like that. Also, when they're coming to terms with any kind of disorder, if they're older and an adult, it is part of the process to help walk them through what it means. But that's another story. Anyways, so this is kind of the breakdown and what a lot of the courses that you will probably be taking as well. So moving on into the clinic portion, or the portion of getting hours for certification. This is one of the primary components, obviously, of grad school, is you're getting those hours. You're basically training for 2 years on the job you're going to do. I chose and liked my program because I was able to start in the clinic and getting hours and experience literally week 2. So some programs, that's something that you have to look at when choosing schools, but if you're watching this video, you've probably already gotten in, because there was another school I was applying to that was a 2-year program, and they didn't start clinical experience until the 2nd year. And obviously every program has their way of doing things, but I really liked that my program started from week 2 and the first semester, so that I could have that whole 2 years to gain experience and practice in different settings with different clients and in every different disorder area. ASHA says that you have to get experience in at least 3 different settings. So right now I have 3 different settings technically. Obviously, because I am one of those graduate students that is attending during COVID season and all of this chaos, it kind of got mixed up and everything is a little bit up in the air. But I still technically have 3. If your university has a clinic, that will probably be one of your placements. So mine does have a clinic in it. So the first placement I had was in the clinic, where they give you a lot of supervision, a lot of support to really build up your skills before they send you out into the world. The second one I had was in a school setting. So I am really interested and love working with younger children. So I ended up in an elementary school, and that was cut short from all the school closures, but I was able to still get a lot of great experience. And initially I wasn't anticipating being a school-based SLP, but I'm kind of considering it now from that experience, which is why all of these are so great, because it's basically a trial period of different places to see where you like the best. So then the third one is supposed to be an adult placement. So usually those are at rehab centers, at a hospital, clinics, things like that. So right now, obviously, because a lot of things are closed, I don't have that, but I'm still getting clients through my university clinic and doing that on telepractice, which if you haven't seen my telepractice video, I will link it down below as well. So yeah, and then the fourth one is one where we kind of get to pick. So whether we want to go towards early intervention, where we want to go towards schools, private practice, hospital, you kind of have that option. At least for my program, they make sure that you're in 3 different settings to make sure you're getting experience across different places, because ASHA says so. And you also have to get experience in all 9 disorder areas. You will see clients from pediatric all the way up to adult and geriatric, and then again in all those 9 disorders. Here, I'll put them on the screen so that you can get familiar with them, and also in different settings. So right now there is something called Simucase, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, which is basically a bunch of simulation clients that have been recorded, and some of them are real people, and you select what assessment to give, what questions to ask, things like that, and it gives you a little snapshot of their answer. So that you are allowed to have up to 75 hours of Simucase hours count towards your practice, which we are using a little bit more than one typically would, just because we are in the COVID season and need to get those hours to graduate. It is definitely a challenge to balance both of them. It is really a full-time job. The amount of time I spend preparing for my clients and doing schoolwork takes up a lot of my week, because the clients are not just somebody you're half working with. They really give you people that you're responsible for. You are responsible for the decision making and what they need to get accomplished. Some clients have been in the clinic or been already in the system, if you're in a school, for quite some time, and you're kind of picking up where they left off. But some of them are obviously going to be new, and you have to take those assessment results and figure out what you want to do with them and where they need the most support. So balancing all of that is definitely difficult, but it's also so much fun, because I'm getting real experience doing what I'm going to be doing later on, and I'm so excited for that. So a lot of people are always, stay in school as long as you can because you don't want to work, and I want to work. I am so excited to be helping people and doing what I really love to do. I think that it helps in this field that people are very passionate about it, because it definitely pays off. I really like working with individual clients or even small groups at the school. I had small groups of students, but everybody was like, oh, you love kids, be a teacher. And I was like, all the credit to the teachers, because I've done teaching for a little bit, and it was a lot, and I really like having the one-on-one or 1 to 4 ratio of students and really being able to work with them on an individual basis on what they need. Most of the time I try to get all my work done Monday through Friday and work on the weekends. Obviously everybody's going to have a little bit of a different schedule, but those are the two main components of grad school that you should be anticipating, because you need to make sure you have time for the schoolwork and the projects and the exams and studying, but also to plan those sessions and do the paperwork and all of that, which is a lot, but if you've made it this far, you can do it. It's going to seem like a really long process, but just really taking it day by day and week by week will help. And obviously making sure you're staying organized and having a way to organize all of your assignments and then all of your client-based tasks to get done. One of the things that I feel like I've really grown in as a grad student is my writing, my clinical writing. So being able to write reports and documentation is a lot of it, and figuring out how to say what you want to say and what really reflected what happened in the session has been really cool to keep growing and learning those clinical terms for everything and how to write those objectives and all of that fun stuff. So that will be definitely a lot of it. I would make sure that you have a good system of staying organized so that you are already ahead of that for when you get there. I hope that this was helpful in understanding kind of what it means to be an SLP grad student, because it is a lot of work, but it's also so much fun because you're already helping people, you're already changing their lives, and it's awesome to see the results from beginning and end to the semester of how much you've helped them and built these relationships with people. So please let me know any more questions you have down in the comments. I would love to answer them or make other videos about them, so let me know what you guys are interested in seeing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so that you get notifications when I post. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!